Well, time for another project. This one's got the small engine variety. And, well, you see it's snow season here where I live. And, actually, you know, I got this thing like 2 years ago. I'll tell you the story on it. So, I got this on a government auction. And took a chance on it because, you know, it's a government auction. So, it was 75 bucks. I got this here snow machine for Snowblower. And, you know, she's a white. So it's an MTD, whatever brand you feel it like being. But come to find out that after I got it, it has the name of where it was used on the back there. It was actually used at the elementary school that's like a mile from my house. So, I had to go pick it up from the central office there for the whole county, and so I guess this thing got to get used and then take a truck ride downtown and then get a truck ride back to a mile from where it was at. So, you know, of course we got it home and gave it the once over and the what for, and what is this wet with? Oh, oil. Good, it's leaking. And so yeah, I don't know, sprayed some carb cleaner in it and started it up with fresh gas, and it ran fine. The only thing that was broken, which is why I think they tried to get rid of it, is one of these cables. I don't remember which one. I think it was this one. Probably that one. Was busted. And trying to remember, I've had this thing for like 2 years. So I fixed that to where it would work, and I haven't used it in 2 years until till now, because it actually snowed and I actually got to use it. And I'm surprised, but this thing works great. So I think it's time that we give it a, you know, little tune-up and whatnot. You know, we'll go through some of the other stuff. I kind of did a little bit already, because when I went to go put gas in it this time, I turned the gas on and it was just puking. It was just pouring out of the carburetor because the float was stuck, so I had to take that off. So the carb's already been cleaned and it's good to go, and it had a choke lever. I don't know where that went. But you can see someone has numbered the head bolts, so they've been in here before. So I looked into here and got to looking around and took out the plug, and because it's kind of crusty, and I figured, well, let me look, see why it won't start. And you know, it looks like an asphalt plant down inside there, so there's been a lot of carbon and sludge and gunk because it's probably been running, you know, not the greatest conditions with 0 to no maintenance for its entire life. And I mean, at this rate, this thing's probably 20 years old or better. I don't know, you know. But it's good at what it does because it's the boss. Says so right there. But now that it runs pretty strong, you know, it's got decent enough oil in it. But I'm going to go through and, you know, run some fresh gas through it again in a little while. And it's probably going to snow again. And then before I put it away, I'll try to remember to give it an actual oil change this time. But I'll probably forget again. But, you know, since it's turning out to actually be a decent machine, I think we're going to actually take and, you know, do a little bit of preventative maintenance on it, mainly with the rust issue. Because as I was using it, and as you can see, as it's been thawing, this thing's pulling as bad as Gold Member here. I mean, it's like, you know, pull it off and put it in the paint box, put it in the skin box. This thing is just, she's flaking. So we're going to try to get some of that loose stuff off of here and whatever. And I mean, it just wants to, just coming right off. I mean, so we're going to try to clean some of it up and make it where this is going to, it's just thin sheet metal, and it isn't real beat up, and the cutting edge isn't all bad on the bottom, and, you know, everything seems to be okay, except for someone's put bolts in here instead of shear pins. So maybe we're not going to fix that, because we don't even get the newspaper, let alone having me run over a frozen one. It isn't worth it for the little bit of snow that we ever get, but when we get it, we seem to get, you know, it by the foot instead of a little bit. So we're going to go through and clean it up, just make it look a little bit better, and not rust away to nothing, because, well, it's cheap, and it works. And, you know, looking at some of the neighbors that have brand new ones, this one actually seems to do a better job. So For paint, we're going to use this, which, well, we made the choice for this because I have it. And I bought it to do the frame of a trailer. Oh, I don't know. Probably 4 years ago now. And never got around to it because we moved. And then after we moved, I sold the trailer. So I just have it. And, you know, I figure while it's in here and it's dry, and it's where it's pretty warm, I can work on it. So we're gonna give it a nice nice coating and just take care of all the rust. I'm not gonna sand any of it down or whatever. Just gonna peel back the paint a little bit, you know, wherever it's really peeling. Get the loose stuff off. Probably go over it real quick with a brush. But you can see it's ready. And then you know, we're gonna give it a paint and see how it does, see how it turns out. Maybe you try to come up with something cool here on the sound. Maybe we'll give it a name. You know, it was the Boss after all. So yeah, we'll bring you along for the fun that's involved with this thing. All right. Well, we've done the least amount of prep work possible. Still peeling like just. Whew. We're just gonna try and get her a coat. Oh, we're going with the brush on too, just for, well, speed, cleanup, and I mean, it already looks like I own it, so anything will be an improvement. You know, don't want the neighbors getting too jealous of this fine machine. Now we can see the transformation's nearly complete here, you know. Gave her the old, you know, mop and bucket special, Ritchie Brothers style here. And, you know, it's good from far, but far from good, you know. Got the old gloss black on it, got the shine, you know. That oil base, I like that oil base because it just gives you, it just covers it. You can bury a body with that shit. It just does a good job, you know. So, now that we got that done, you know, I just stopped right there where, you know, back there, the leaking will keep it nice from, you know, rust preventative. And up here, well, we just painted it all. I just got what I could get in there reasonably and got it all over the floor. But, you know, it's kind of par for the course for an event like this, because that, I did not estimate how much of a pain that was going to be to paint all that in there. And then I got to get some new. It was probably good I did. It has these special bolts in there. These shear bolts, and you can see one of them has since sheared, so that this is for like if you suck up a frozen newspaper or something like that, it'll break these bolts. You can see it's just like a 5/16 bolt that has these little things cut in it, or little reliefs cut in it. Nothing special on the head, but it's got these little reliefs cut in it, and it's probably a softer steel of some sort. It is steel. They're not aluminum, but I got to get some new ones of these. I could just put regular bolts in it if I really needed it in a pinch. No, there's steel. But anyhow, yeah, those. I broke the one, and the other one was, as you can see, not long for this world. So I figured while it was apart, while we were doing the maintenance, you know, the makeover, we'd replace that. That and made it a lot easier to paint with these guys just whirling around in here versus it, you know, being twisted up in here 6 ways from Sunday, and yeah, having an issue there. As far as other maintenance, we did absolutely nothing. Well, I shouldn't say that. I packed this full of grease. Oh, man, it's greasy. So that, you know, while I was in there, the real old ones had oil in it. Those just have grease. But, you know, we're gonna get her going here now. It is it looks better. But, you know, she is used, so the care factor is a little bit down. So we're going to have to you know, make this mine. You know, I want the neighbors to be jealous of this machine. So, what would a makeover be without a little custom touch? By custom touch, I'm talking about a little bit of flame action on here. Now, as you can see, we've just cut it out of a piece of paper because I am not the artistic one. That happens over that side. I'm not the artistic one. So, but I think we'll make do with something like this, you know, and I'm gonna tape this on here because that's not gonna stay. And we're gonna just get a little bit of, well, we'll see what color the cabinet provides, and we'll see how this is gonna look when she's all finished up here. I was gonna do it on the sides over here, but there's too much stuff, adjustments and things, and well, I only cut out 2 pieces of paper, and that took me way too long. So we're just gonna do them on the top here, you know, give it the appearance, and just, you know, just make my neighbors regret the fact that I live here even more. You know, it'll make me pleased, which I really shouldn't complain because I have great neighbors. They're fine people, you know. I feel bad for the fellow across the street with all this stuff recently. He worked for the same company for 30 couple years, and almost a year ago they said, yep, we're hanging you up. See ya. So, you know, there's that whole unfortunate part of what's going on in the world these days. Oh, of course. I have to come up with something in here. You know what we're going to do? Just split the difference. Split the difference. Like that. I've always wanted flames on something, but, you know, seeing as I'm married, it's never going to happen on anything I'm allowed to drive off of my property. So we're just going to have to do it to things that are on my property, mainly to make the neighbors jealous and just completely ensure that my wife will absolutely never be caught dead using these things. You know, I mean, we wouldn't want them to get, wouldn't want her to get all excited about this. You know, just tape it enough to where it's fine. See, I mean, that's covered. We're going to go with yellow. And since we have it, we might come back later and fix the overspray. Probably not. Because it's still, you can see where it's peeling from all the vinyl that was on it. That's probably about the crappiest ever. I figured it was going to overspray. I thought it was going to look a little bit better than that. But, hey. Now I got something with flames on it. Now it at least looks apart. Now we got to make it run right. Alright, well, I guess we're back on old Flamey Snowblower here. Just been really busy. Wound up going back to work and just been real busy. It seems like, you know, with this whole Corona stuff, no one seems to remember how to, like, you know, actually do their job. So the free time I've had has been spent doing other people's work for them. But honestly, it's snowed a couple times, and all I've had to do with this thing, I mean, the fuel line was bad, so I just put a new fuel line on it, and it already had a shut off, so left that. I need to change the oil, but one, I don't have any straight 30 weight, and B, I want to let it get good and hot and get all that stuff kind of going around in it, because I pulled the plug before, and it was just, I mean, well, first of all, to run this thing, to do the driveway, it really only takes me like 15 minutes, so by the time I get it done, it's pretty much hot, you know, because with all the cars that are out there right now, I don't really have a need to do, I really don't even need to use this thing to get the whole driveway, because we kind of can just park over it, and that kind of shields it from the snow. But whenever they're not all in the driveway, it's nice to be able to clear everything with this, especially if we get some ice, because it likes to, if you leave everything and you drive over, it just makes it a sheet of ice, because it kind of half thaws and freezes again anyhow. But ran it a couple, so by the time it, you know, it doesn't really get screaming good and hot, but I wanted to get everything kind of worked around before I changed the oil on it, because it looked like it's pretty decent. I mean, it looks like it was new before it was put away. I mean, you can see it isn't too bad, really, at all. I don't know, it's dripping all over my thing, but, you know, it's, doesn't have any moisture in it, and it seems like it was, like I said, when I got it, looked like it had just been changed. Probably serviced for the year, then they got new ones and got rid of it. It was a government deal anyhow, so. I mean, the tank was empty when I got it, so that was fine. Had a little bit of bad gas in it from last time I ran this thing, but put some good gas in it with some barium in it, and you know, that ran fine. And anyhow, last time I looked at the plug, before I ran it for that one time, It looked like someone was trying to pave a driveway down the cylinder wall. There was so much carbon in there. But if you look at it now, it seems like it's burning a lot better. Plug's not all fouled up. I just cleaned up the old one that was in there. Pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of fouling on there, but nothing too bad, nothing too terrible. I think a lot of that came off of there. A lot of that came out, which is fine. It was just nasty in there, and it smoking around a little bit, but it seems like it's doing better now. Other than that, I mean, like I said, when I got it, carb bowl was empty, and it kind of was hunting and searching for a little bit till it got some good gas and it cleaned everything up. Like I said, I really just want to run it for a little bit and see what happens, but that's the end of that. Other than that, tightened up a couple things. You know, had to put a new nut and bolt on the thing that makes that go up and down, and that was kind of the end of that. But that's going to wrap it up for this project, really. You know, got another project I've been working on. I won't tell you what it is yet, but anyways, I was making the enclosure box for it, and well, we got to do a take two on that because, you know, I had a couple pieces of this stainless stuff. I have these big stainless tables over here. I cut the fronts of them out because they were from a cafeteria, and so I had them big pieces of stainless steel laying around. So I actually was going to make a box out of that and went to go weld up the corners, as you can see, and the finish sucks on them, and I don't know if it's a weird series of stainless, might be a 400 series of stainless, I don't know. And all I had was 300 series rod. Then you can see the old gusset on the corner here, because, well, got a little excited on the pedal there and just blew right through the corner of it. And after I got it all done, I was looking, and it doesn't look real nice, it doesn't look real good, and I was having a heck of a time with it, couldn't get the heat right. So go to look, come to find out, argon tank's empty. Can't get the flow I wanted to out of it, so that wasn't, even if I had the right material, going to work right. So we're going to abandon that whole thing, and I'm just going to bend one up out of sheet metal and just stick weld it real quick, or just rivet the corners. I haven't decided yet. Probably just rivet it, because that's what I have here. All the welder stuff's at work, and well, with the whole Corona thing and everything else, you know, I loaded up the tank and the other two tanks from the torches that were empty and went down to just go get everything, you know, just do the old exchange because we own them. And come to find out that our purchase order for the year was never initiated or started, seeing as we haven't been at work in 11 months, physically actually working. So, yeah, we didn't have a purchase order, so couldn't get gas even if I wanted to. So, and then that's not going to get refilled until we have a reason to go down there and get that purchase order set up, because it's got to deal with tax exemptions and all the other government crap that goes with it. So, so needless to say, I just need to kind of work with what I got at home here and not rely on that in there, because it's going to be a while before that gets back up to where it's functioning normally. It seems like now, even as things start to open back up and function, people have lost the ability to function in a normal environment and can't seem to, you know, develop a resistance to the syndrome. And by the syndrome, I mean the CRIS syndrome, C-R-I-S, cranial rectal insertion syndrome. Every adult seems to suffer from it now that they've been stuck in their house for however long. They don't know how to do normal things, like, I mean, even communication just sucks. But anyhow, I'm getting off on a tangent with that, you know, just kind of had me in a bad mood. That was like par for the course on it that day, and then sat down to go through emails and everything else, and come to find out that I had some old car audio parts over there that I sold on eBay. Okay, so I had the amplifier that was on there, went and sold it on eBay, and of course the guy's a deadbeat bidder. He doesn't pay. So a week goes by, you know, it sits here. Relist the auction when I'm allowed to, and then that was fine. So after I relisted the auction, see if there's anything else I need to do on this thing. No, I just need to get out of my way. Relist the auction, and then same guy winds up winning it, and it goes for $40 less than it did the last time. And took a couple days, but he paid this time because, well, I guess he was getting a deal. So box it up, ship it to him. First thing he has to complain on is the fact that I shipped it in a diaper box, well, sorry about you, dude. I ain't buying a box for you. So then he sent me, does not work, will not work, in not so clear terms, because that's what usually happens. Whenever I sell anything of any value on eBay, somebody buys it who it's a struggle to communicate with, and they're always trying to get one over on. They're always trying to get something for nothing. They always want their money back, and not, oh no, I can't ship it back. I have no means to send back. Or they don't want to pay to send it back, or whatever. But anyway, so I said, well, how do you have this thing set up? So he has a car amplifier. I'll get a kick out of this. He has a car amplifier. It's supposed to be wired up with like 4-gauge wire, right off the battery terminal, etc., etc. Draws, I don't know, draws some amps, we'll put it that way, but I'm cleaning up as I'm doing this. He's got this thing set up on like a footstool in his living room, hooked up to two, pretty crappy off the shelf, like, I mean, they're name brand, but they were clearly like name brand from Walmart, speakers, subwoofers, that of course he's got to use, blast out his tunes on. So he's got that going on over there, set up, wired up that way with like 16 gauge lamp cord, because that's what you use to wire that thing. Then he's got it hooked up to a computer power supply. He doesn't even have the remote turn on. So there's a positive and negative, and then there's a terminal in the middle that you have to get a positive 12 volt remote signal from your car's head unit or like a switched ignition to turn the amp on. Your higher end ones will have that. So that way it doesn't kill your car battery by just being on all the time, It'll only put power to it whenever you want it to. So he didn't even have that terminal hooked up, so of course he's saying, oh, will not work. Okay, yeah, dude. Sorry, the manual I sent. So I sent the manual over in a PDF and said, make sure this is hooked up correctly, because I didn't want to be like, hey, do this, and then he does it and whatever. So I sent the manual over. He said, oh, I cannot read manual. I'm like, well, dude, I wanted to say it's not my fault that I sent you a manual printed in English and you can't read English. I'm sorry. Go use Google Translate, or better yet, stop wasting my time and don't buy something you don't know how to use. So instead of doing that, I calmed down for about 4 seconds and decided that I was going to tell him the proper way to hook it up. So I sent that communication forward, and of course I know it worked, because it worked when it left here and it worked when I used it, and pretty sure it probably worked when he hooked it up correctly. I know he doesn't have any way to hook it up into his car or taxi or whatever he's putting it in, but whatever he's doing, I told him he needed to have a switch 12 volt source onto that remote terminal that shared a common ground with the ground for the whole system. Sure, he doesn't know what that means. Don't really care. And again, I'm not just saying that because he can't understand me and we can't communicate that he's dumb or stupid or whatever, but hook something up correctly, troubleshoot it for 5 minutes on your own, and maybe, just maybe, it'll work the way it's supposed to work. No one has any patience to do any of that. No one has any patience to fix anything or do anything like that correctly anymore. And it just really, really, really made me mad that day. And so I haven't heard anything back, so I'm assuming it works just fine. But that'll probably be mistaken. Oh, the other thing, speaking of service and doing things right or whatever, and how the current thing of people getting back to work and doing their jobs and stuff in this country. So we've been living in this house like almost 3 years, and the washing machine and dryer, when we got here, they were nice, they're decent, but they weren't new. You know, they were used well. Roundabout October, she did the old, shiftaroo from the wash cycle down in spin cycle, and in doing so, I mean, it sounded like you went from 4 to 6 without the clutch and missed the middle. And you know, it pretty much sounded like the transmission was laying on the driveway of the washing machine. So went over and, you know, shut her down, and you know, the whole drum in the bottom of the thing was just, I mean, you could shake it around like a hula hoop in there. That thing was just, that was bad. So it was time to get a new washer. This was back in August, or no, October. So order a washer and dryer. The only ones I could get on even on a back order, the end of 2020, was I didn't want to spend under $2,000 for the pair, because you know me, I'm cheap. And that, I didn't think that was very cheap, because I know you don't get quality. But anyhow, so I ordered them like October 13th. They didn't show up until December 12th. So they showed up December 12th. So we went 2 months or so without a washer. We were using others, but anyway, so it's here December 12th. She's been working great, working fine, and I did a load of laundry. Was trying to, you know, be proactive, and I mean, you know, I usually have a pocket knife, and well, I guess I forgot to take it out one time, and so what was this happened? This was, I don't know, towards the end of January. Anyhow, I was unloading the washer and look in the bottom, and I'm like, what is that? There's a piece of plastic missing out of the bottom of the agitator and the bottom of the drum. I look around the other side, and all I can see is that sticking out. So I got a pair of pliers and a hammer and pulled that whole pocket knife. It busted off all the rest of it. All the chunks were laying in the bottom of it. The rest of the whole knife, the whole handle. It was all metal, so there's just like, you know, a couple stainless steel sides or whatever. And I mean, the blade's still in one piece minus a couple chunks and a big chip out the back here, but the whole rest of it was just obliterated. So good quality on this thing for a cheapish knife, and I actually kind of liked it. But yeah, needless to say, that's gone, and so is the agitator in the bottom of the washer. So called to see if it was under warranty, and they had to send somebody out to check, and well, parts are warranty, but labor's not. So there's that. So needless to say, you know, he came out and said, hey, he was real nice guy, super cool dude. Said he'd been doing it for like 30 years or something, the different stuff, and now he just does, like, he works for this factory service unit or whatever it is. But really nice guy, really straightforward. I mean, he only looked at it for about, you know, 15 minutes or whatever. He said, yeah, no problem, you know, let me see how we can work this out with the warranty or whatever. He's like, either way, I'm going to order the parts, and he's like, I'm just going to have them shipped directly here. And then he said he didn't live too far from here, so he'd be able to come over and do it like first thing in the morning, you know, when it comes back up on his log there, you know, on his sheet. I get it, he's got to follow his time sheet, you know. So yeah, parts showed up, no problem. So he should be here hopefully this next week, and we see what goes on. But I'll tell you what, man, that makes, you know, icing on the cake for 2020. You go 4 months without a washing machine, basically, when it's all said and done. I couldn't believe that, you know, it's got like a, you know, 30-day unconditional warranty on the washer, and it made it 42 days before I stab a knife through the bottom of it. So yeah, that's why we've been a little slow on. I just haven't been in the mood to really work on anything or talk about anything, and you know, I guess it's just par for the course for how everything's been going. But hopefully we're getting ready to get back into a little bit of normalcy here and whatnot. And I got another project going on over here, which I'll definitely film too. But you know, parts are coming together for that, and it should be a good time. So until I put that out there, you all have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day.